Hey there, thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. It's a rainy day here, and it's a day when I get to bust out my quad LP collection and give a listen. I'm going to be listening on my quad station, which are 4 full-range Klipsch towers, powered by an Emotiva A4, run through an Emotiva UMC 200, and sourced from an old Pioneer PL12B. So I'm not breaking the bank on my system by any means, but I find the system to be very enjoyable with great separation. I'm running SQ LPs through Surround Master V3, which is, among other things, an SQ decoder. So I want to talk to you a little bit about vintage quad LPs, vintage matrix quad in general. I have been enjoying vintage quad for quite a few years on Super Audio CD, which is great because they take the quad master, those 4 channels, and they discreetly put each of those onto a Super Audio CD channel. So you're not running it through any kind of decoder. It's already split apart as discreetly as the engineers had in front of them at the time that they did their mix. And I want to just make a note, both in my hand here, this stack of SACDs that I haven't listened to yet, and then up on my wall. As I collect quad SACDs, I no longer have really the need to pick up quad LPs. Now, quad LPs have a sound all their own, and they have this palpable tactile experience all their own. But I tend not to double dip just to save on funds. So in my stack to listen to, I have some Percy Faith, I have Mott the Hoople, more Percy Faith, No Nanette, some Leonard Bernstein, some Stokowski, some Wagner. I'm not even sure how to pronounce one of these guys. And Charlie Rich. And these are all things that if I saw them in the wild, I would go ahead and pick them up on LP, but since I have them on Super Audio CD, and like I said, you get that discrete separation, you get no pops and clicks, don't have to clean it, don't have to worry about the vinyl surface. I'm glad that I have the choice to listen to either one. And then for Super Audio CD, quad, or otherwise, I usually use Oppo Blu-ray players, okay? Now, so just to kind of run you through some of the quad LPs that I've already acquired. I don't have a very extensive collection at this point, just finding stuff either on discogs or at my local thrift shops or my local record stores. And then I guess just another note, you can find quad SQ and QS encoded music on CD and maybe even DVD, some other mediums. So for instance, when I saw Mike Oldfield's Exposed, which is a double LP concert, I knew beforehand that it might have an SQ mix, an SQ encoding. So I checked, there's this little tiny note on the back that says this double LP is SQ. So I went ahead and picked it up. Go ahead and throw that on the system sometime. Chase Pure Music, I already have on Super Audio CD, but I was able to pick it up for a couple bucks, so why not? I can compare them. Poco, Cantamos, again, I already have it on Super Audio CD. And Blood, Sweat, and Tears, New City, I already have it on Super Audio CD. And all 3 of these are on Super Audio CD courtesy of Dutton-vocalion. So I'm going to give a pitch, go over and check out Dutton-vocalion's website. And then also Art Garfunkel's Breakaway. This is a really cool record. A friend sent me this in exchange for some CD4s because I don't have the technology to play CD4 right now. And again, this is another one that Dutton-vocalion put out on Super Audio CD, so I didn't need it per se, but I have it, and now I can compare. I can compare how good the SACD sounds, to a really good LP copy. And again, I think that same friend sent me new songs of the 70s, like 70s hit tunes played through, played by an orchestra, via orchestra. So I love, that surround music has opened me up to a lot of new artists and genres and albums. And then especially these classic quads, like have me listening to like funky, goofy, but very enjoyable stuff, such as this. So I'm looking forward to that. Switched on Bach by Walter Carlos, Wendy Carlos. I got a lot of great advice about how to set up my quadraphonic system from Wendy Carlos' website. So if you are wondering about speaker placement and just like the difference between like a diamond shape for your speakers or more of like a surrounds beside you type of configuration, go read her website. I mean, she has done a lot of research, whether you agree with her assessment or not. I think it's really valuable to go ahead and read what she has to say. And, she was a renowned Moog artist, I believe, from the 70s, and Switched on Bach is her playing some Bach through, I believe it's a Moog synthesizer system. All right, and some people call that Moog, some people call it whatever. There are three major pronunciations. The inventor who's gave the system its name even says there's three pronunciations that don't really bother the family. Anyway, Edgar Winter Group, they only come out at night. And here's a note about, if you're looking for quad records in the wild, if you see this giant gold border, that is a huge tip-off. And then, of course, it also says Quadraphonic in black at the top. But that giant gold border is a big, big giveaway. Here's another one with the gold border. These are Columbia quads. Tammy Wynette. I haven't heard any Tammy Wynette since I was a kid, so that's going to be a blast from the past. Johnny Mathis, Me and Mrs. Jones. I have no idea what this record sounds like, but it'll be fun to throw it on and figure it out. Got some Ravi Shankar. I haven't heard this stuff since I was a really young man, dating my now wife. Kind of hanging out at her house. Her dad would put on what he called dinner music, and Ravi Shankar was a part of that. If you see records with this double circle angel logo, that is their quadraphonic symbol. And then like this one has a note on the back saying that it's SQ. And you can find a lot of these double circle angel LPs at your thrift shop. I think so far I have 3. They're going to tend to be, symphonic, orchestral, classical type of stuff. And then, oh man, this was a really early SQ that I picked up before I even really knew how to play. Vintage quad. I saw it in a record store. I saw that it had like an orchestra from 4 sides. Checked it out, and sure enough, it says Quadraphonic on the back, so I went ahead and picked it up. And I also have this on SACD, but just holding on to it for comparison reasons. And then got this sealed copy of the full spectrum of quadraphonic sound. This is a sampler. It's got Chase, Santana, Streisand, Mathis. It's got, looks like a cut from Super Session. It's got Miles Davis, 10 Years After, Percy Faith, Lynn Anderson, Sly and the Family Stone. So this is really cool because it's going to give me a variety of genres, and I'm going to be able to kind of see, I'm going to be able to evaluate how well my SQ decoder is working. And then also an introduction to the world of quadraphonic sound. This one's also sealed. I think I got both of these off of discogs, if I recall. And you can go look through my discogs collection. I have made a Matrix quadraphonic list, and I will do my best today to go and update it so that it's useful. And you can also take a look through my want list to look at Matrix quadraphonic LPs that I haven't acquired yet, but I do have my sights on. Could give you an idea for your own want lists. So anyway, I just wanted to talk today about Matrix Quad Like I said, I've been able to listen to it on CD, on LP, and then also recordings that formerly were only available in Matrix. Now you can get on Super Audio CD. You can get that full separation and just the best sound possible. So yeah, I'm gonna throw on a couple of these LPs today, and I'll report back. So we're back. It's the next day here. I decided that one LP in the evening and one in the morning was a good pace for me, and I'm glad I broke things up. These are two very different sorts of demonstration records. The full spectrum of quadraphonic sound is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs on one side and 5 on the other. And there is some crossover between these records. You get the full rendition of Oye Como Va on both. And other than that, an introduction to the world of quadraphonic sound is a bit of a different animal. And you get this narration on side 1 that explains SQ and what Columbia was trying to do with it. And you get snippets of quite a few songs, around 10. And then side 2, you get the 5 pop songs, Oye Como Va, and Paul Simon's Mother and Child Reunion that attracted me to this record. You get Spanish Key by Miles Davis instead of Miles Runs the Voodoo Down. And it closes with Andy Williams' MacArthur Park. And my goodness, that is a grandiose tune. I'm sure it was quite something when it first came out. They packed everything in the kitchen sink in that song. I really got a kick out of the narration on this record, where it compared listening to an SQ LP to taking a trip to the moon and back, except you get to join in the voyage. I'm not sure that those experiences really correlate that well, but it certainly is a trip. It certainly is a trip, so I will give Columbia that. Anyway, this was a very cool experience listening to both these demonstration records. There is quite a variety of styles across them, and that was sort of part of my attraction. And then I wanted to just see how the Surround Master version 3 decoder worked with these SQ LPs, and it worked just fine. It is a similar experience to listening to an SQ CD or various rips that friends have made me, stereo files with SQ encoding. So yeah, I was surprised how noisy these records are, and I watched a video yesterday on handling and cleaning your LPs, and it occurred to me that the paper jackets inside these records, even though both of these LPs were sealed, that the paper probably deteriorated, and maybe even when it was new, shed some paper particulates on the LP. So I cleaned the second one better and it was less noisy. So I think by the time I give these things a proper cleaning, and I'm going to house them in like an anti-static sleeve, I've got those on order, should be a less poppy and clicky experience. And this holding up this jacket kind of reminds me of one of the points I wanted to make. This one actually goes quite a ways toward explaining, SQ technology. And I've always had like this vague notion that phase relationship was used to encode, and then this jacket goes on to explain that there's this helical movement of the stylus, which is what the decoder looks for to reproduce the back channels for you. So even just to get this sleeve and to read Columbia's take on their technology, the way they tried to market it to people, and to get this rundown of the LPs available. You get a slightly different list on the sleeve than you do on the back. I hope you don't mind, I'm joined by my frequent co-host, Nickabrick, now. Anyway, this was a cool experience, and I have, you know, some other SQ LPs already lined up to sit down and enjoy. And I'll be tracking down more, as well as any CDs that I'm made aware of. I will try my best to update my Matrix Quad list on discogs, and I'll link that below. And, you know, for those of you watching, I just wish you health and happiness, and excellent listening, enjoyable listening, and the only thing left to say is I hope you're all living life in surround.